Okay, folks, before we jump into this, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, don't forget to like. Those 3 things, oh my god, honestly, the best way you can help this channel is to do those 3 things. If you're not subscribed already, if you are, I really appreciate you always being here, always turning up. So we're moving on to the United Vision. We're giving you an update specifically on what's going on, where we're at, and what this is all walking towards and what we're doing in the meantime. So as you all know, this did pass. This was a really complex kind of situation because nobody wins from this. All of the top people lose. And the fact that a lot of them got on board shows they believe, right? They believe that this blockchain can be restored. And with that belief, right, comes hope. And with that hope comes drive to push on. And for the community, looking at these sort of things, this is a really good sign. Now, like I said, this is one of the more complicated things that were on the United Vision. In fact, it's one of the things we require the L1 to be involved in. There's no other way of going around this, only the long way. And the long way being myself, Straff, and somebody else doing this, and it takes a lot longer to do. Ultimately, right, this benefits everybody on a grand scale. Obviously, there are going to be some kinks that are going to need to be ironed out, but this has passed, right? So the next step was to let the L1 know, and we've done that. We've done that through more or less just putting up in issues. It's passed. This is what needs to be done. Here's some examples. Bish, bash, bosh, cross the T's, dot the I's, and now we're waiting for a response. We need to know if the L1 are going to get involved in this, or they're simply just going to say to us, no, governance isn't law. We're not going to help you. We're going to continue doing our deals behind the community's backs, and we're not going to work with you. That's obviously not what we want to see. What we're hoping is that they say, yes, we'll get involved. We will help you get this in place, and that will speed this process up, because with these kind of things, you can't rush it. Okay, it's not something that if you go faster, it's going to get done quicker. In fact, if you go faster, you're probably going to mess things up. Trial, test, error, put it on the test net, keep testing, trial, test, error, and then maybe move to a real concept. So ultimately, right, this is the only thing on there aside that smart burn tax, which is one of the last things that would be addressed. This is where it really counts. And honestly, right, this benefits everybody, not just one person, not anyone specific. It benefits everybody. It corrects the chain. It brings us back to a decentralized level, and things will start to normalize again, and we start to move back upwards in price. So with this all being said, right, where does this leave us right now with a dynamic minimum commission? This leaves us exactly where I just stated. We are now waiting for a response from the L1. We submitted this 2 days ago. We'll give it a week to 2 weeks. We'll get a response, and then we go from there. That's the next step. That's where we're at, and that is exactly how it needs to be. So are we going to be sat around twiddling our thumbs and ignoring and playing ignorance? No, of course we're not. Going to be utilizing our time as best as we can, because we want to keep pushing forward. So the next thing on the list is definitely going to be the enhanced payment system. Call it a pay per mile system. Call it whatever you want. Okay, but ultimately there is an issue. I love the word ultimately. It's such an ultimate word. Now, this in itself, there's so many issues surrounding the current way we pay things. Right? 3 months is just too long for anybody to get a paycheck in advance for 3 months' work. It's just crazy. The most I've ever seen is a month in advance. Maybe on, I don't even know, a company where you started, you don't have any money. I don't know. Right? But it's not normal, and things need to change. And the reason why is because there's bulk sellouts. The biggest sellouts that we realistically see the majority of the time actually come from these paid development teams, and specifically the L1, because it's such a considerable amount. And you can actually see this on the price chart, believe it or not. So if we go and we look, when was the last payout? It was actually on the 28th of June, believe it or not. What happened? Oh, huge price dump. And every time another team gets paid, oh, huge price dump. So every time they get paid, right, they're not just holding it all, they're selling it all straight away, because it could go up, it could go down. They know as a development team, them selling that much, it's going to go down. So they may as well sell it all now. There's no point in waiting, and it makes everything so much worse. And this is why pushing forward with the next stage is, it's just so imperative right now because we need to keep moving, right? We need to show the community that 2 people can get things done. 2 people can be responsible for so much more than what these teams that have taken way over $1 million in funding have provided within about a year and 4 months. It's just been crazy. Now, with what we're doing with this next part, this is us. And the way that this is going to work, and I'm going to explain this as best as I can for you. The way this is going to work is when the next proposal goes up, which will be for this, you won't be voting on something where we're then going to say to you right now, we got to go off and develop it. No, you're going to be voting on something that provides test data, simulation data, and a working contract system ready to play this out. We're not coming half-hearted or a cup and a half full. We're coming with the full 3 cups. This is not dairy milk. This is HCC and Strathcole. We come with the full 3 cups. So, like I was saying, streamlining this in a manner that when you vote next, you'll actually be voting for this to be put in place. And like I was saying, the good thing about this is it prevents those bulk sellouts. It prevents these what don't seem like a lot, right? It doesn't seem like a lot. But when that keeps happening continuously, right? And then we never recover, that's 15% there, and another 15% here, and then another like 25% there. And these, it's becoming a real sort of habit. And I've been in crypto for a long time. A lot of people ask me, why don't you do technical analysis, Jay? And honestly, it's because I've been learning, been reading a lot of books, and I'm starting to learn the charts a lot better. So what we're actually looking at here is a Dragonfly Dojo candle. I know they give them such fancy names because it all originates back in Japan a very long time ago. You need to look into the history of it. These candles can mean, and remember, technical analysis are never right. No one can ever read a chart and tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's all predictions and just an analysis. These candles can more or less signify that there's a change. And that change then leads to a positive reversal moving back upwards. And we can actually see this on the chart at different times. Once again, seeing one of those Dragonfly Dojo candles just down here, you see, and then seeing, oh, up again. So what I've been doing is just for a long time, you might have seen squiggles on here before when I've come into this and wondered, why has it got, weird drawings? And it's just me, when I do a TA, I plot it out, I think about how it's going to go, I look at the candles and I monitor them, and I think about how it's going to play out again, because we're in a bigger sort of pattern that's playing out at the moment. And that's what a lot of people focus on, these larger patterns. Whereas we cover this day to day, it's better for us to take things day by day a lot of the time. So for me, I honestly believe if my TA's, relatively close, we could see a movement like this, which is really good. And when we start introducing stuff, for example, like the paid per milestone system, which prevents these bulk sellouts, okay, doesn't allow developers to come on board for 3 months, get paid beforehand, and then can just play up for 3 months. There's no incentive to work there. There's no incentive to play ball or stick by the rules. You can just make it up as you go, because realistically, the only thing they've got to lose at the end of this is their paycheck. They'll just move off to the other blockchains that they're all working on the side and not telling anyone that they're working on and acting as if it's not an issue. So this paid per milestone system, this contract system is more than needed. Like I said, we're going to be coming forward with everything this time for this one because it's within our range. It's something we can do, and that's the same with everything else that's on that list. The next thing to be addressed after this, you've probably guessed it, as we draw in closer to the next quarter, it's definitely going to be the endpoint thing. It's not actually something that we need to address. We don't need to do anything. It's all there. I'm going to be doing a video on this, right? Because they're going to put their spend proposal up and the community is going to have to make a decision. Do they want to keep paying for that, or do they want to just utilize what there is for free? And it's going to be one of those ones where the community needs to be educated, and sadly, there's not a lot of people that will go out of their way to put their necks on the line, to make themselves a target to all of these different people that do get payouts. They're just not going to do it. We don't see it. We've seen people like Classy, other people like Crypto King, and so many others come and go. But ultimately, I'm always going to be here. And it's not even a thing of like, oh, I'm here, I'm the last guy standing, because I'm not. There's so many other people here. But I've never, ever abandoned any of you. When I broke my back, I was still there, right? When I became paralyzed recently and I was gone for a month, I'm still here. I'm still here doing videos, working in a real life job, keeping up with everything, keeping the projects going. We need more people like this. right? And there's not enough of us. And that's the sad part, that it's taken a year and 4 months to get to the point where, someone like myself just had enough. Like, I've built so much on this blockchain that there's so much that is at risk. And I do believe this united vision has the potential to start moving things upwards. But when we get stuff in the media and these proposals getting put up where there's minting and reminting involved, it doesn't help the case. And do you know why this doesn't help the case? Because you've not been notified about this. Information gets withheld from you, and instead of telling you straight, explaining to you why it's got to happen, how it's got to happen, showing you the historical basis of it, it's just hidden from you. And then eventually all of this is going to get hashed out in a Twitter space, and everyone's going to start screaming at each other, and then we get a load of bad rep, and we end back up at square one. And it's sort of, I keep seeing this repetitive behavior. But, for example, if we get this pay per milestone system, it's as simple as you going to governance, creating a new proposal, and literally putting a proposal up to halt one developer's funds because the community is not happy. If the validators and community agree, it's a decentralized decision at the end of the day. But there's no way for us to hold people accountable. And I see different people that were part of this COC before, their ears are perking up. And, oh, yeah, we should get the COC back together. No, let's not get the COC back together. Let's get something better in place. Let's get a pay-per milestone system in place that's decentralized, controlled by governance, and the community gets the say and sway. Not 4 of you lot playing lord and overrulers of this community. Because if everybody remembers, who got chosen to be put on that COC? DJ Trev, Straff Cole, Demon Monkey. Come on. We all knew at that point that these sort of people were picked on the basis a lot of the time that they would probably just go along with things and they would just say yes to everything. And a lot of the times that's what we did see, because these people don't want friction. They don't like to play sides, so to speak, and they don't like to take a side. And I totally get it. If you want to sit on the fence, sit on the fence. That's totally up to you. You're, respected to do that. But ultimately, change comes sometimes in the form of a united vision. And I think this whole expedition we're starting to walk on is amazing, and it's good, and it's going to be good for the price. And we're going to start to show, because at the end of the day, this trust me bro thing has to stop. And the only way we can stop the trust me bro aspect is by putting contracts and systems like this in place. And it's at that time we can have a breather, because that's the biggest issue. Right? There's never any breathers. There's never any telling the truth. People always hide things, playing ignorant. Yeah, I'm really excited pushing forward. So, as to the United Vision, that's where it stands. So within the next week to 2 weeks, the likelihood is you're going to see another proposal go up. And some people are going to go, oh, what about the dynamic commission system? Simply point them to this video. Okay. Link them to this video and help them listen to a 15-minute video tops to explain things, right? And show them that we now wait once again for a team that doesn't follow governance. And I'm not convinced. Other people around me are convinced. I'm not, because of a simple fact that we all know they dislike me. We all know they hate that I keep pointing out all of these things that they hide, and it annoys them. It annoys them that I don't want anything. I'm not going to get anything from this. I'm not going to prosper in any different way that any of you would, right? Everybody else will have the same opportunities I would have in this case. And we're never going to take a paycheck. And the biggest issue is we're showing them up. We're showing them up because they're an L1 team. And we literally paid them $110,000 every 3 months to fix bugs. We could have a bug bounty system. We could get rid of that whole team. And it could solve itself. And it's this idea of having a self-serving system. And at no point has anybody ever tried to get a repository together that we as a community own. No one has ever tried to do anything that me and Strafe are doing. And at no point has anybody ever with high voting power decided to themselves, this has all got to stop. Everybody's been more than happy to just go along with what the community wanted. And what makes me the most fearful is, if there wasn't people like myself doing what I do, the likelihood is that would have just continued. It would have continued until this chain would have died. We need more validators like myself that are going to stand by. And, it's not about taking a side. It's not about trying to do something to gain voting power. It's about making the right decisions for this blockchain based on the information that is accurate and to hand. You have a absolute obligation to understand this blockchain as a validator to ensure that your decisions are producing the correct results, not leading us down a path of pillage, plunder, and then just move on to the next blockchain. Folks, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the United Vision. Let me know what you think about the expedition, and let me know what you're drinking. Just let me know if you're staying safe. I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Other than that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. My voice is better. Catch you in the next one. Ciao.